So brother Chris, just wanted to ask you a couple questions, man. I mean, as far as black men in America, right?
Okay.
I mean, would you say that black men in America, do they, what's the status right now for most black men in America? I mean, just give me your point of view right now. I mean, from you growing up, and then what's going on out there. What would you say?
Well, that's a very good question, and I believe that the answer to that question, you have to take a tour down like memory lane or history, if you would. When I was a little boy coming up, most of the black men, they were all workers. A lot of those men like held their household together with what they could. Think about good times in a sense. Like you had James Avery, how he had his family together.
Yeah.
But he didn't own anything and he made pennies. But it was more so this whole, it was faith-based as far as having that family strong, and y'all did whatever y'all could with whatever y'all had. And as I continue to grow up, technology became evident at that point. But the state of the black man, in my opinion, still remained the same. We were still, workers and scraping up whatever we could and pushing some of us through college, and some of us, made money, but as a whole, black men as a whole didn't, I got into, 18 years old, going into, the Marines,
right.
and looking at things from that perspective, you start to understand that the world is larger than just, being a worker and holding your family together. It's more so got to the point where everybody was individualized. It's like, hey, you get it how you can because of your generations in the past didn't have the knowledge or the tools to get you what you needed in life, so you had to kind of get it yourself.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you this. I mean, it's 2014.
2014.
It's 2014.
Yeah.
We've been in the information age for quite some time. I mean, can you really say that the man is holding us down anymore, man? Can you really say that? Like, can we really say that anymore?
Well, systematically, we can still say yes, the man is holding us down, but that man is not a man. Is that man has grown into being a system. A system. We say the system now. We really don't say the man, and that system is in the form of a color, white supremacy. So what we have to understand is we are at an age in technology where we have access to capital now. We have access to the same capital.
Same money.
Yeah, and we're realizing that now. We had access back then, but we just didn't have the knowledge or the resources to get it as a whole. So as a group, we have that. We have that now. The problem is with the black men of this day and age of 2014, we are caught up in being consumers. We're caught up in being big spenders. We're able to pull that money in now, that capital in, but we're not reinvesting that money now. So that's the status of black men today. Is we're consumers. We're consumers. We know how to make money. There's no excuse now as far as being able to pull in capital. At this point, it's all about what we're doing with that money we're getting.
Okay. Yeah. Now, we just left Dania Beach, Florida. You can see, we on the highway going back. Just finished taking care of some business.
Right.
Now, this warehouse that we just came from. I knew something stood out to you when we got to this warehouse, man, right? That it was a little disgusting to me, but rightfully so, seeing as that we don't own anything, But tell me a little bit, man, what you experienced with these guys that we were doing business with today, the gentlemen who own this place, and how did they approach us versus the guys that was working for them.
Well, I tell you this, brother. It was an outrage. I was totally disgusted. Regarding the whole exchange, because we went there with a purpose, and we were greeted and respected because of the preparation that we had, the way that we were dressed, the way that we presented ourselves, we spoke articulate and intelligent. But the disgusting and the outrageous part of it all was the workers that were there in that warehouse. And you know they make little to no money. And these brothers were brothers just like us, but these brothers were totally engulfed in the system. It's systematic. They were the workers of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. I wasn't born back then, but I'm an 80s baby. So back in the 80s and the 90s, we were workers. Those guys were the same good times, fathers, you know what I'm saying? Those guys were those guys. They make peanuts and go home to their families and try to scrape up and survive with what they can. That experience was a great experience for us, but as a whole, as a black community, it was disgusting.
Why would you say that? Like, how did they treat us, man?
They treated us as if we were an enterprise already. They treated us as though we already had a few franchises of our own. Those guys treated us like true businessmen because we came in there and handled business. I believe the problem that needs to be addressed with that is we need to get brothers out there that have the ability to make a way to make moves like this. We need to educate these brothers. We need to educate these brothers exactly how we were able to come down here, get things done, and head back home. Get told the game by these business owners, man. Because that's what's missing. That's what we're lacking. We're lacking that transition. Everything grows, man. Grass grows, trees grows. Animals grow when they born. People grow. But our brain and our intelligence has to grow as well. And I think we lack that from being workers. We were supposed to be workers to owners, and we never made that transition as blacks as a whole. It's transitioning from workers to owners.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was kind of sad to see that the same brothers that, we were looking at them as we walked in, and it's almost like, man, they work for them, and we came there to do something that they could have done, and they've been there longer than we have. So that's what I guess maybe was a little, it made me a little infuriated by that, but that's the whole point, man. Black, we there's no excuses now, man. I really believe that there's no excuses. Everything really is in our hands.
Yeah, well, everything is absolutely in our hands, brother. And with your question, the answer wasn't us, jumping up, cheering, and high-fiving each other because of our experience today. This was a sad, dealing with the black community as a whole. This was a sad day to me. To walk in there, I was expecting to see, some, Latinos because of the part of area that we were in. I was expecting to see those guys working the warehouse, but to see our own brothers right there
working for
in the game.
Yep.
They're in the game.
Yep, working for pennies.
None of them, have had the intellect or just the idea of, putting themselves in a situation where they could get up out of, pulling off merchandise and product off of a truck into a warehouse. Like we're worth more than that. We have the same access to capital as they do. You heard those gentlemen, they gave us the game. They gave us exactly what we need to do to be on the level as they were,
Well, now it's all in our hands, brother.